This proves there is an agenda against the Indiana Fever. There is an attack agenda.
New footage just dropped online and it's exploding quicker than a buzzer beater from half court.
Tina Pow, she hacked Caitlin Clark. Her arm is like being grabbed by Tina Pow and she does take it off.
And then when the refs don't call the bear hug,
one of the worst missed calls I think I've ever seen in basketball.
This is another year and another case of WNBA referees not making the right calls when it comes to Caitlin Clark.
This slow-mo footage makes it obvious. Caitlin Clark was clearly targeted by the Atlanta Dream, and not in a play hard kind of way. This was more like, how much can we get away with before the refs actually do something? Spoiler alert, they didn't. In fact, it almost felt like the officials were cool with it. Drop your thoughts on the refs in the comments, because we've got questions. Let's get into it.
Let's watch the play here.
To reset things.
As you can see, she dribbles over to the wing, pushes off a little bit, and hits that three. Now, if you slow things down and if you actually go frame by frame, you can see that Pow had two hands on Caitlin. It wasn't just a one-hand check. She was kind of grabbing her with two hands.
This sequence looked less like basketball and more like WWE. Caitlin Clark was getting grabbed, shoved, and straight up body checked. We're talking full-on jersey pulls, hip checks, you name it. And this wasn't just one rough play. It was a whole reel of cheap shots. Meanwhile, the refs might as well have been on a coffee break. No whistles, no calls, just blank stares like they were watching the lights on the ceiling. You couldn't make this up if you tried.
This is some of the worst refereeing I've ever seen to not call a defensive foul here. Like, this is not just a hand check. This is a double jersey grab.
WNBA referees that's making it so damn hard for them to make the right calls at the right moment.
But here's where things really stop making sense. Somehow, the internet is blaming Caitlin Clark. Yep, instead of backing a player who got tossed around like a tackling dummy, the trolls jumped in like it was game day. She pushed off, they claim. She started it. Seriously? If grabbing someone's jersey with both hands is what we're calling defense now, then somebody better rewrite the entire basketball rule book.
Going up against Pow and she does a step back three, she hits it, but the internet is going wild for this because they are complaining about her pushing off with her left arm.
Let's break down the moment every fan can't stop talking about. Caitlin Clark, who moves like a heat-seeking missile when she drives to the rim, was going head-to-head with Tahina Pow, but this wasn't defense. This was a one-woman wrecking crew. Pow wasn't in a stance. She reached out like Clark had stolen her last slice of pizza. Grabbing Caitlin's jersey with both hands, it looked less like a stop and more like she was trying to halt a speeding train using a paper napkin.
Pow is on her. Pow grabs her hip. You see here, so Caitlin's trying to blow by Tina Pow. Like, Tina Pow is not a good enough defender to play flat like this. Two hands on Caitlin Clark's jersey, then she goes around the hip. Caitlin shoots from so far back. Oh my god.
And just when you're thinking, all right, clear foul coming up, crickets. Not a single whistle from the refs. But wait, it gets even crazier. Caitlin Clark tries to break free and extends her arm just a little. A totally normal move for any guard dealing with pressure, especially when the defender's already off balance. No push, no elbow, just creating space. But guess what the internet locked in on? Not the two-handed jersey grab, not the full body contact, nope, just that tiny arm extension. And suddenly, Clark's the villain of the whole play.
Not an offensive foul, and if it's an offensive foul, the offensive foul comes way after the defensive foul. Even if it wasn't for the hand, I don't think that that's enough of a push-off to call an offensive foul, especially when the defensive player is off balance.
Run it back in slow-mo. Caitlin Clark had already beaten her defender before the contact even happened. She had the angle, the burst, the momentum. But thanks to the Dream's full-on WWE tactics, the foul she clearly deserved never called. And instead of support, she got dragged online like it was her fault.
This happens a lot. There's a lot of times that guards are working the defenders off of them, especially if a defender has a hand on their side, on their jersey, on their arm, anything. You are allowed to kind of swipe and get the defenders off of you.
It's honestly crazy. Let's talk about the double standard here. Just last season, the story was that Caitlin Clark needed to toughen up. Every time she hit the floor, people just shrugged and said, "Welcome to the W." Remember when Jano Ariema said this?
And Diana said it best. This kid's in for a rude awakening. And they all jumped over her, but they didn't read the whole thing that she said. But nobody's printing. You know, Diana Taurasi was right. This kid's on the wrong team. She's got the wrong skill set to handle the physicality of that league. And she's a rookie. And if you're a WNBA player, if you're any kind of player, you're going to say, I'm going to make a statement.
But now that Caitlyn's figured out how to use her body to absorb contact and fight through the bumps, the narrative suddenly changes. Now people are saying she's too physical. So which one is it? You can't call her too soft for the league one year and then complain when she pushes back the next.
So there's a hot topic going on right now. Caitlin Clark says she got cheap shotted against the sky. I mean, throughout the season, she's been getting beat up. Hard screens, elbows, knocked down.
This isn't just about one play or a single player. It's a pattern. Caitlin Clark isn't getting superstar calls, she's being targeted. What's even more worrying is how this is starting to feel normal. Every time the refs hold back and don't blow the whistle, it's like they're saying, it's fine to get physical with her, just don't let her score. Remember when Alyssa Thomas pulled this move and didn't even get a flagrant foul called?
Another look here at the heavy contact.
Meanwhile, Caitlin Clark just keeps pushing through it all. No whining, no drama, just straight up scoring. She's getting fouled hard and hammered, yet still dishing out assists like it's a charity game. To me, that's not only talent, it's next level toughness.
Caitlyn is past Tahina Paupo here. Tahina Paupo is stopping her with her arms. Her arms like this on the jersey, stopping her. There is an arm extension. Because she's in such bad defensive position, is already, look at her where her feet is before the contact. She's throwing herself out of the play anyway.
The worst part? This whole talk should have been about protecting the league's biggest rising star, but instead it's been taken over by keyboard critics and salty Twitter trolls. Tahina Paupo was clearly out of her league and started grabbing and pulling, yet somehow Caitlin Clark is the one getting blamed. It's just crazy.
Clark, her arm is like being grabbed by Tahina Paupo and she does take it off.
She's trying to gain separation to shoot a three.
But I've never, like, this is some of the worst refereeing I've ever seen to not call a defensive foul here. This is a vet move by Paupo. I have to say, this is a vet move by Paupo.
Let's be honest, the league really needs Caitlin Clark. She's not just another player. She's the driving force bringing in fans, boosting ratings, and selling jerseys. The least they can do is protect her like they have with every other big star before her. Because if this keeps up, the message is loud and clear. You can only shine if you do it quietly.
Y'all got it. And that's exactly how I'm feeling right now, bro. Like, at this point, watch this play, guys. No call whatsoever. No call whatsoever. But they will call Caitlin Clark getting a technical. They will call Caitlin Clark getting a technical.
If you believe in fairness, consistency, and calling out double standards, now's the time to speak up. Caitlin Clark isn't asking for special treatment. She just wants the game to be officiated the right way, fair and square.
It's a mad situation just all around when it comes to Caitlin Clark, because it's very clear that she is way stronger.
Caitlin has always been an underrated athlete. She's the fastest player in the league to me with the ball in her hands, and she was the best guard finishing around the rim last year. She shot a bunch of it, and it's been the whole preseason where it looks to me like on her deepest shots, she is just getting them off like they're nothing. Like their routine.
Let's be honest, what we're seeing is clear double standards in action. When other players get physical, throwing elbows, grabbing jerseys, or playing tough defense, they get praised for being gritty and determined, doing whatever it takes to win. But the second Caitlin Clark uses a shoulder to make space, or just stretches her arm to break free from a defender, suddenly it's a big deal. The rule book comes out like it's some kind of scandal, but this isn't really about protecting the game's integrity. It's about controlling the story. Caitlin is now the biggest star in the WNBA, the main event. She fills arenas, boosts TV ratings, and gets everyone talking. And when you're that famous, you're going to attract attention, not just from defenders on the court, but from critics everywhere.
Nobody else is shooting from this distance regularly, and she's doing it with a flick of her wrist. How easily it looks like she's shooting those threes and hitting those threes in the clip that she's doing it, you know, going to the rack, all these various things that show she's even stronger than she was a year ago. And you see it in the strong numbers. I mean, 13 points, 6 boards, 7 assists in 23 minutes of action.
Let's be real. If this exact play had happened to someone like Sabrina Ionescu or Kelsey Plum, everyone would be talking about how the refs missed an obvious foul. But because it's Caitlin Clark, the story suddenly flips. Now she's being called a dirty player. It's not just unfair. It feels like it's on purpose. What's even crazier is that despite being the one getting fouled over and over, However, she hardly ever gets the calls. In the entire preseason, Clark didn't get to the free throw line a single time. Not once. Think about that. This isn't just about a missed call anymore. It's a clear pattern that can't be ignored.
One of the biggest hurdles for Caitlin Clark and the Indiana Fever last season was the WNBA referees. Now, the front office made it their business to revamp the team, bring in more aggressive players to help them get further in the WNBA season and possibly win a WNBA championship. But before any of that stuff can even get done, we have to take a look at the misguided missile that can destroy everything this upcoming season, and that is the WNBA referees and this secret agenda.
There's a serious pushback against just letting Caitlin Clark play her game freely. Every single move she makes gets picked apart, exaggerated, or taken way out of context. And that's the real problem here.
Year and another case of WNBA referees dropping the ball, not making the right calls when it comes to Caitlin Clark. Bruh, how we one game away for the start of the season and we have already Caitlin Clark getting fouled extremely hard. Look back at the referee like that.
So what does all this mean moving forward? Not just for Caitlin Clark, but for the Indiana Fever and the entire league. This isn't just about a missed call or bad refereeing. It's a sign of a bigger problem, a culture that targets its brightest star instead of supporting her. Let's talk about Caitlin. She's no longer just a rising talent. She's the face of women's basketball. The name even casual fans recognize. She's the reason arenas are packed and TV ratings keep climbing. But with that fame comes a heavy price. For Caitlin, that price means taking non-stop physical abuse, facing constant criticism, and playing without the protection she deserves. Just look at how she handled that game against the Atlanta Dream. Players clinging to her like coats on a rack, while the refs watch silently.
NBA referees are terrible. The one-sided calls against Caitlin are so obvious and disgusting. They're ruining the game. If the referees do not get this whole situation together with this Caitlin Clark thing, fans is finna stop watching this sport.
But Caitlin didn't lose her cool. She didn't argue or snap back. Instead, she just kept pushing forward, making plays. That step back three she hit right in the middle of all that chaos. That wasn't just a flashy moment. It was a message. It showed her resilience. It was pure mental toughness at its best. Yet not enough people give her credit for that part of her game. But here's the real question. How long can she carry all this on her own? How long can she be the star, the face, the hero, and the punching bag, is while still playing at the high level the league expects? The WNBA wants her to be the torchbearer, but they won't shield her from the heat. That kind of pressure, it's a sure path to burnout.
She is highly likable. I think that lends itself to her popularity is she comes across as somebody that's really just respectful, likable. There's other players out there that just don't come across that way.
The Indiana Fever are still finding their way. They're young, full of talent, and working to build something that lasts. Caitlin is their driving force, but even the strongest engines need care and protection. You can already see what she brings, averaging 14.5 points, 6 assists, and 6 rebounds in limited preseason minutes, with shooting numbers that clearly show superstar potential. But just think about how much more she could do if she wasn't getting pushed around like a pinball machine. When she's fighting through double teams from one end of the court to the other and doesn't get a single call, it slows the entire offense down. It kills the flow and impacts every player on the floor. This isn't just about her stats. It's about what this team could become if the refs called the game fairly.
Man took this like iPhone footage of the Indiana Fever doing a workout after that game against the Atlanta Dream. And it was Caitlin, it was Brianna Turner, Jaylen Brown, and Natasha Howard. They were working out in the hallway and just doing like some simple lifting. And then also you can see here Sophie Cunningham comes out of the locker room and she is wearing a boot.
And here's the bigger picture. What this all means for the next generation. Young players watching from home, kids who look up to Caitlin Clark are paying close attention. They see her getting fouled hard, getting blamed, and being criticized for things others get away with. What does that teach them? That being great comes with a cost. That if you shine too bright, the system might not have your back. That standing out makes you a target. That's not the kind of legacy the league should be creating. The WNBA has a choice to make. Either it supports the players who are pushing the game forward, or it risks pushing away the very stars who could take the league to the next level. Right now, it feels like Caitlin Clark is being penalized for her popularity, for her talent, for being different. But if there's one thing we know, it's that Caitlin was born for this moment.
In 2024, she averaged 16.5 points per game, 4 assists, 5.5 rebounds. She shot 37% from the field and 31.8% from three. Now, if you look at her preseason in 2025, she only played 2 games in this preseason, and one was against that Brazilian national team. She played 21 minutes. She averaged 14.5 points, 6 assists, 6 rebounds. She shot 52.5% from the field and 50% from three-point range.
She's not backing down, she's growing, finding new ways to win, to lead, and to inspire. She's not just taking the hits, she's turning them into motivation. She's not waiting on the refs to give her credit. She's letting her game speak for itself. Even when she's being targeted, even as the media twists the story, she keeps showing up, keeps stepping up, and keeps shining. So yeah, the footage proves what we already knew. She's being singled out. But even more than that, it shows something powerful. She's still dominating, still scoring, and still changing the game.
Have you guys been explicit so far about wanting to win a championship this year? And
yeah, I mean, absolutely.
What does success then look like? I mean,
a championship.
And this conversation can't end here. If you believe Caitlin Clark deserves a fair shot, the same respect and treatment that every other star in the league gets, then speak up. Let's make sure her name, her skills, and her toughness get the recognition they truly deserve. Drop your thoughts about the refs in the comments below. Don't forget to like, subscribe, and hit the notification bell so you never miss an update. Tap the video on the screen now, and we'll catch you in the next one.